Hello everybody, it's Leela. Welcome to my channel, or back to my channel if you are a returning visitor. Today's video is a little bit different than the rest of the videos on my channel. We're going to do a discussion about my holy grail dolls, my wish list of all wish lists, the dolls that I wish I could have, will probably never own, and it haunts me. It haunts me. Not really, but dolls that I love, wish I could add to my collection, but just can't for one reason or another. Okay, so if that sounds like fun to you, please stick around and give the video a bit of a like. And also, if you haven't already, please subscribe to this new channel. It really helps the channel to grow, and I'm very excited to go through my first milestone of 100 subscribers. So if you're one of my first 100 subscribers, thank you, thank you. It's been really exciting to build this new channel. So with all that said, let's get started. Okay, I have a list here of, I think, 7 of my Holy Grail dolls, different types, different brands, different reasons that they're my Holy Grails. It's not all the same. But yeah, so let's just jump right in and talk through these dolls that I wish I could have. The first one is the Monster High Dawn of the Dance, particularly just the Frankie and the Claudine. And these are dolls that I have wanted since I started collecting Monster High back in 2011 and 12. I just happened to miss these for some reason. I was just starting out collecting. They were the first non-core series release of themed line, I believe. And I don't think I ever saw them in stores or anything like that. So I was just starting collecting, getting the base dolls. And then I kind of learned about these after the fact and never saw them in person and never got them, but always wanted these two. Mainly these two because their outfits are so good. Frankie's tights, look at the pink fishnets tights, and that dress is incredible. It's probably one of the best Frankie outfits that exist in all of the history of their Monster High dolls. I just love it so much. It's so cute. And this Claudine is probably my favorite Claudine. It's sad that I don't have her. It makes me sad that I don't have her because I just love her green choppy bob. I love a girl with short hair, and there's not a whole lot of them in Monster High. But I love her short hair. It's so cute. And I love green. I love the green hair on her. It looks so good. The whole outfit, the color scheme, the shiny heels, it's so good. This whole line is such a cool 80s, brightly colored punk kind of style, and I just absolutely love these two. And I never got them. And I've thought about should I try and go back and get them? And it's tough because one, they're just very highly sought after, so they're expensive. In the box, they're very expensive if anyone has them. There weren't a ton of them, I don't think. I'm not sure. And the ones I've seen out of the box maybe are missing pieces, missing shoes, missing things like that, which is a bit unfortunate. And two, the sad thing about the older Monster High dolls is that they just don't age very well. Even the ones that I've had that were just in my collection as an adult collector, sitting on a shelf in their stand, the ones that I've unboxed, they are a little bit rough. Their hair gets real gluey and stuff. So, if I were to get them secondhand, it would be hard to find ones that were in good shape. And I think I would prefer them in the box, which is just really tough. Really tough to find. But I love them. They're gorgeous. If Monster High was to ever reproduce anything, because they did the original reproductions, please reproduce Dawn of the Dance. They have to know that we love Dawn of the Dance. If they reproduced them, I would cry. Tears of joy. Tears of joy, everybody. Mattel, listen up. Listen up. So that's my first Holy Grail. Let's move on to the next one. The next one are more Monster High dolls, in particular Marisol, Ginny Grant, and Aminata Nightshade. These are three of the characters that I don't have, because they were characters, I think they're like, are they considered G2? I'm not entirely sure. I guess they're on that cusp of when G1 was switching to G2, new characters that had kind of come out. And so they are all ones that came out in the period of time that I had stopped collecting Monster High. So when Monster High was starting to get into G2, and with the last ones that I bought were like the treasure one, what was her name? I forget. The pirate treasure one, who had like the molded on top. And it was when they started getting into like that style of the molded on top and stuff, and the quality was just like kind of going downhill, and I was just getting a little bit like disenfranchised with Monster High, so I kind of just like stopped collecting at that time. But these are characters that came out around that time that I just never got my hands on, that in retrospect I do like them and I wish I could have them, just because I have almost all characters, like one doll of almost all of the characters in Monster High, and that's kind of how I collect, and I would love to have these three because I think all three of them are really good dolls. They just kind of came out in a period where I wasn't as active as a collector, so I missed out on them. I really like Marisol a lot, actually. She's a Bigfoot Yeti. I don't know which are the difference, Bigfoot or Yeti. But I love her color scheme. I like her pink hair and her gray skin and her little furry feet. I think she's really cool. And Ginny, we have the other Genie whose name is escaping me now, that I do have, but this is kind of the other Genie-ish character. Jin, I think that they're called. And she's just really cute. And then Aminata Nightshade, again, I just love her color scheme. She reminds me a bit of Venus with the plants and everything. She's really pretty. She is one that I wanted back then, but never found and just never got. So these are ones that they're probably a little bit more accessible if I were to try and find them now than like Dawn of the Dance. So I might try, but again, when I've looked secondhand and unboxed, they're often missing pieces here or there, which is just unfortunate, or are just not in good shape because the dolls age and stuff. So they're in my Holy Grail list. Hopefully, maybe someday I'll get my hands on them. They're really cute. The next Monster High is maybe a little bit of an unusual one. I don't think she's a lot of people's Holy Grail or anything like that. It's Gilda Goldstag. And she's one that, this is her only doll. She only came out one time. And she was in a 5-pack of like, I guess they're like supporters at the sports or something like that. I'm sorry, I sound silly, but I don't remember the name of the 5-pack they were in. But since it was a 5-pack that had a bunch of dolls in it that I didn't want, I never got it because I didn't want all those other dolls. I only liked her. And I like her because, again, she's a unique character. I like her gold skin. And I love her little horns and her short hair. We don't have a lot of the female characters that have short hair, and she's one of them that does. And I always thought she was really cute, but I never got my hands on her. And I really like her a lot. So maybe someday I could own her. But she's a really unique character, so I dig her. And the next are the only Skelectors that I consider to be part of my like wish list, Holy Grail that I really want. The Skelectors, again, started coming out in a time period where I wasn't collecting Monster High, and I also just wasn't paying attention to Monster High. Like, I didn't know that they were sort of starting a reboot of the line with these Skelectors. I was completely out of the loop at the time, so I had no idea when these were all released, which makes me really sad. The ones that I want the most of all the Skelectors, the rest of them I'm not interested in, all the other Skelectors, but these are the ones that I really want, is the Beetlejuice 2 set and Greta Gremlin. particularly because Beetlejuice and the Gremlins movies were, like, when I was young, my favorite movies as a kid. Like, I love them. I watch Beetlejuice every year around Halloween. It's like a tradition. I rewatch it, and it's so good. I love it. I blame these movies for making me a weird, like, goth teenager or something. I wanted to be like her. But yeah, I think they're just so good. They're so cute. My favorite between all of these three here on screen is Greta Gremlin. She's just adorable. I loved the Gremlins. Like, they really scared me, even though when I was a little kid, but I would watch the movie over and over, even though I was scared of them, and I loved them. I have, like, an actual stuffed toy of Gizmo. I still have it from my childhood. And I just love the Gremlins, and she's just so cute. Like, I love these. But again, they're ones that people who got them and are reselling them, like in box and stuff, are just hundreds and hundreds of dollars, which is just wild. And I just wish they weren't like that. I wish they were more accessible. Like, the retail price point, they're like $100 or $75 or something like that. It's a lot, but it's like, okay, I just wish there was more of them so they would be more accessible, and so the reseller secondhand market wasn't so just out of control, especially right now with the revived interest in Monster High with G3. A lot of collectors like myself that got out of the game are getting back in the game, and now we're like, oh, we kind of missed these because we were not paying attention. I'm sure I'm not the only one. But yeah, someday I would just really love to have these because I think they're adorable. So cute. The next one's a bit different. In my Holy Grail dolls, it's the only Barbie on this list. It's Barbie and the Sensations Bopsy, particularly in box. I would love to get a hold of this doll in box because this was my childhood favorite Barbie doll. Like, she was the one that I had as a child. She was my absolute favorite. She has like kind of a dark blonde hair, but I kind of remember it being more reddish. But I still have the one from my childhood, but it was a child's doll. It was my doll, and she is wrecked. She is straight wrecked. I still have her though. But I have her outfit. I don't know if I have accessories and things, but I think I have that little jacket and the pants. And for the longest time, like, I couldn't remember who she was. I was like, I remember this doll that was my Barbie. It was my favorite one. She had like the 1950s. There was like, during the 80s, there was a 1950s retro style trend going on. Like, everything was like 1950s. And so she had this like 1950s like jacket and like diner stuff going on or whatever. And I just loved her. She was my absolute favorite. So I've since looked her up and to see her in box. She's not overly expensive. She's not like I don't think she's anyone's favorite doll except for me. So like maybe someday I'll get her in box just to kind of like have her as that little nostalgic memory of mine. Like a nicer quality, because I did not treat my dolls well when I was little. I wrecked them. Okay. The next one is the Novi Stars. Just all of them. Not one particular doll or anything like that. Just all Novi Stars. The ones on screen, I don't know their names. I don't know the Novi Stars dolls' names. But the ones here on screen are the ones that I like the most of all of them. But the Novi Stars are, for me, like, if I won the lottery and money was no object, I would go out and I would find every Novi Star doll in box and pay whatever exorbitant price and buy all of them and collect the Novi Stars because they are so weird and wonderful. And I just love that. They came out in a time period, again, when I was on the tail end of stopping collecting Monster High. And I remember seeing them in stores and thinking, oh, that's interesting, but not really at the time really grasping like how cool they were and not like picking any of them up. Despite having a memory of seeing them and thinking they were neat, I didn't get into them at the time, and I just kick myself over and over for it because they're just such weird, quirky little things, and I love them. I think they were ahead of their time because they didn't last very long. They were kind of riding that wave of like Monster High making weird dolls and like monsters versus these ones being aliens. And I'm not sure why it seems that they weren't like super popular at the time. They didn't last very long. I think if Novi Stars came out today, like they would crush it. They would kind of kill the game. I think there's a bit of like a resurgence of interest in them, kind of similar to what I have, is that like, oh wow, the Novi Stars, like they were ahead of their time. They're not the most like, they're not heavily articulated. The clothes aren't like super amazing. It's really just the weird designs and the gimmicks that each one has that it's really fun. Like there's the one with the leg that has the like glitter water inside, and so it's just, they're so cute, and the colorfulness and just these quirky little weird things, I just love them so much. And maybe someday I wish I could own a Novi Star in box. They're just such cute little strange things, and I love them. Last but not least is another unusual one for me. I don't have any Integrity Toys dolls. That is just too expensive for me. That's just way too fancy for me. But if I were ever to get an Integrity Toys doll, I would want it to be this Gem and the Misfits doll here. One of the Misfits leader. I don't remember her name for some reason. I don't know. But again, I was a small child in the 80s. All you youngins may not know that, but I was a kid and loved Gem. Like, loved Gem and loved the Misfits. They were so mean, and like, they had the coolest hair. I loved lime green hair ever since I was a little kid. Like, I had an obsession with lime green hair because of this character. And I just thought this doll looks so good, and it's such a nice, beautiful representation of that doll. And I've looked around, and I know there's other Gem dolls that have come out. They're not terribly accessible like any Gem doll, but this one is one of the more nicely executed ones that like maybe someday I would get it. But again, Integrity Toys dolls are expensive out the gate. Secondhand, insane. So I probably will never own her, but you know, she pops up every once in a while in like a picture, and I'll see her and I'll be like, wow, I really like her. Maybe someday. She's so cool. And that's it. That's my Holy Grail doll list. And you know, if I won the lottery someday, I will buy them all and have all my collection of these dolls. So yeah. What do you think? Do you share any of your Holy Grail dolls with me? Are you on board with wanting any of these? Do you have any of these and really like them a lot? Let me know in the comments, like, what's your number one Holy Grail doll that you wish you could have but don't have for whatever reason, be it cost or just can't find it or anything like that. I'd love to hear from you. Again, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you have any other ideas for discussion topics you'd like me to go over, let me know in the comments. So thanks for listening, everybody. See you next time. Bye.